What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a look at the Blokees Transformers Action Edition number 3 Soundwave and his minions Rumble, Ratbat, Laserbeak, and Ravage. So this was sent to me by Blokees. Actually was sent a little bit ahead of time so that we could promote the BotCon convention, which is going on as this video is releasing in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And we're actually going to be giving away one of these figures at the convention. There's a Blokees building competition, and the grand prize is going to be this guy right here. So pretty cool. And I will get to judge that competition along with a friend of mine, Sam from Sam's Formers, all the way from the UK. He's attending the convention, so really excited about that. But let's take a look at this guy. I think I'm going to go through the minions first, then we'll go through Soundwave, and then we'll show you some of the features together. Alright, so starting off with Ravage here, you got some pretty nice looking detail. He's got sculpted detail kind of all throughout. Like you have the little spine here, the head, the arms, everything's got, it's got the tape detail there on the arms. Silver missiles on his shoulders. That all looks really good. You have red plastic for the eyes. If you open up the mouth, you get a little bit more red. So that looks good. Let's go over the articulation. The head is on a ball joint, so it goes up and down, side to side, and it rotates around. We get shoulders on a ball joint, so those rotate forward and backward. They can splay in and out on a butterfly, and then the elbows can bend. You can kind of get it collapsed down that far. You can't really transform it per se, but you can get him kind of collapsed. Ball joint for the waist, so you get a crunch and a rotation here at the mid joint, which is nice. Rear leg, same thing, it's on a ball joint, so it goes forward and backward and out to the side. The legs can fold up down to there. So you can get, again, like a crouching pose, and then the tail can go up and down. So really nice articulation on this. Even this little guy is done pretty well. Tolerances are good, so even though they're ball joints, it works well. So it doesn't feel loose or anything. There you go. All right, next let's take a look at Ratbat, and he looks pretty good too. He's got a little bit of yellow for the eyes. He does have an opening mouth, which I was surprised that it actually does that. Wings can rotate up and down here, and then rotate in and out here. The feet can fold forward and backward just a little bit, so you can kind of get him on a perch. On the back, you have a jetpack here with the boosters, and later I'll show you this does integrate with Rumble, which I thought was very cool. But overall, a good looking version of Ratbat. All right, next we'll take a look at Laserbeak. And he comes with 2 sets of feet. So one is with this peg on the bottom, so you can attach him to Soundwave or to this little display stand, Soundwave. You know, this looks really cool. I love that they just included stuff like this. But if you want to swap them out, you can just pull down on the legs and then pop in the other one without the peg on the bottom. And now he can just kind of sit on his own. And this is pretty cool. It's got some articulation. Let's go over. The head is on a ball joint, so it goes up to there, down to there, and it can rotate, of course. Neck can go all the way down to there, so you can get him straight out. Legs can pivot on a hinge. The wings can rotate, but you can flap down to there, and you can rotate it around. Here's the back. He does have boosters back here. I think he's missing his lasers, right? It looks like there was a spot to put the lasers, but they didn't include it. So you could probably just do something on your own there. But really cool looking Laserbeak. All right, and last but not least, we get Rumble. And he is officially called Rumble in their manual, so that's what I'm going to call him. He's got some red for the eyes, silver for the face, white here, and then Decepticon logo there. Nice sculpted detail all throughout. You know, there's no waffles. I guess there's waffles on the bottom of the feet, but overall there's really very little waffles. So I like that. And it feels nice and solid. Let's go over the articulation. The head is on a ball joint. It goes a little bit of back and forward, a little bit of side to side, and then it rotates around. It is a little bit hindered due to these pylons, but you can get it rotated. Shoulders on a ball joint, can rotate around. Out to the side on the ball joint. Elbows are on a ball joint, go up to there, 90 degrees, and rotate around. Wrists also on a ball joint, rotate around, up and down, side to side. You have a waist rotation. Legs will kick up to there, back to there, out to the side. You have a rotation at the knee, 90 degree bend at the knee. We have ankle tilts on a ball joint, forward and backward on a ball joint, and a rotation. So plenty of articulation on this guy. He gets some nice accessories, so you get his blasters done in silver. These can be put in his hand for the traditional blaster look, or you can put it on the backpack, which is probably how I'll display it, but nice to have that. And we'll just move this one back here. And I'm just noticing there's a clip hinge right here, which I'm guessing integrates with something else, but I'll take a look at that. But we also get these, which are kind of new. We get little drills, and these can replace the hands. If you pop the hands off, pop these on, now you have drill hands, which that's pretty cool. I don't remember ever getting drills with a Rumble. Nice to have that option. And then, of course, we get his pile drivers. And these have some nice sculpted detail on them. They do go up and down. And we can open up this panel. And you want to have the hands on there, so I'm just going to pop the hands back on. You can rotate this like this. And then we can slide the hand. I like to have the flat side out so it doesn't, just sits flat against this panel. And then you close up that panel. And there it is with the pile driver. And then we can do the same thing on the other side. And there you go. There is Rumble with his pile drivers. I think this looks great. It's a very cool design. But there's more. So, hidden feature, which actually I didn't know about until Blokees kind of mentioned it to me. Or I saw an image of it. But basically, you can take the Ratbat and turn him into a jetpack, which I thought was really cool. So go ahead and remove these guns back here. And we'll take off these pile drivers as well. You don't need those. And you'll see there's two slots there. And this can attach on those two slots. So you want to remove this backpack from here. I recommend using a spudger or something to kind of pop it up. Basically pop this off. And then you'll see there's two pegs here that will fit on those slots. And that's really cool. I love that they integrated these two. Now you get this jetpack. And I think, let's see. I think you could take these wings off, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, you take those wings off. Does this integrate? I feel like this should integrate somehow because I see there is a peg right here on the side. I'm not really sure where that ends up, because there are obviously two of them. But either way, I mean, this is very cool. I love the idea of the minions kind of like integrating and working together to fight the Autobots. So there you go. All right, and finally we have Soundwave, and this is an amazing figure. I love the way they did this. Just the overall deco and the look of this guy. They did a nice job mixing up the plastic and the colors. Black, white, red paint, yellow here. A little bit of paint here on the chest. A little red paint there on this piece. Yellow paint there. I mean, they really did a nice mix-up. You got silver showing through on the back. You even got down to the details. You have a dial and a switch on the back of the legs. So just overall, just really, really good looking. All right, now let's go over the articulation. And this figure is very well articulated, more so than the other Action Edition figures. Head is on a double ball peg. I'll actually just pop it off so you can see the neck is in a ball peg down there, and then the head sits on top of a ball peg. So between the two, you get forward to there, back to there, side to side, and you can rotate around. The shoulder missile itself can rotate up to there, down to there. You can actually fold it here as well, and then there's a sliding joint. So if you want it set back a little bit, you can. Like, you can have it a little bit further back. So it's kind of like not all the way forward. And you can angle it side to side. That's a lot of articulation for a shoulder cannon, which I haven't seen in most Soundwaves. For the shoulder, you have a slide out joint here on the shoulder pad. The shoulder has a butterfly joint built in. You can lift this up and the shoulder can get up to there, straight out basically. The shoulder can rotate at the bicep. You have a double jointed elbow. The way it's built is you have a drop down sliding joint here in the elbow. And if you bend both, you can get the full bend out of it. And that's a really cool way to do it because it gives them more articulation, but then it allows you to have, this more aesthetically pleasing arm when you're not using that joint. So that's pretty cool. That's a new joint for Blokees. For the hands, you have a ball joint for the wrist, so that can go up and down, in and out, and rotate. The fingers are individually articulated. We saw this for the first time on the Megatron figure. They're molded with that articulation in there. So there's two hinges. And then there's at the base, actually I'll just take this off. At the base of the finger there's a ball joint. So you can bend it all the way. And then the thumb is on a ball joint and a hinge. So they're just very well done fingers. But it is the same design as the Megatron. We do have an opening chest gimmick here, and I thought for sure it was just going to be, hey, you pull it down with your finger. But no, it actually has an eject button, so you press right here, and it does indeed open up the chest. There's detail in there. Later we'll show you a tape that can go in there, but I love that they worked that in. That's very Soundwave. It had to be there. Coming down the waist, you have a waist rotation. Rotates all the way around. Ab crunch is a double jointed ab crunch. This is a new hardware here. So it gets you way, way down due to that. And way back. I love that they keep coming up with new stuff like this, but that really allows you a lot of movement on that ab crunch. And then there's this piece here in the middle that kind of covers up the ab crunch, so you can kind of hide the joint as you're manipulating it. That's a good design and good idea. You have the buttons here on the front. That looks nice. The play button, rewind button, all that. We have hip skirts on the back. If you move those out of the way, the legs can actually drop down a little bit, which will allow you to get up to there, back to there, out to the side. And you have a universal here built into the thigh for a thigh swivel. You have a double jointed knee, and it has a drop down hip as part of it. So as you bend the knee, it drops that hip down. And then you have that second joint. So you get nice movement on that. It looks really good. We have a new thing here. You have a fold out piece, and you can have these, and it's on a slide out, but you can have basically speakers on the side of his legs, which I thought that was really cool. They worked that in. You're going to have this panel anyway, might as well make it do something. So that's a neat thing, especially for this character. And you can just close that up and slide it back in. The feet are on the same peg system with a hinge. So you get side to side, you get forward and backward. The toe itself can go forward and backward. So you get a toe tilt for walking poses, and you can rotate. All right, let's take a look at the accessories, and we'll start off with his blaster, done in blue, red, and silver for the tip. This will just peg right into the hand. Pegs in nice and secure, so that's good finish and tolerances there. You can also take this and store it, and I love this that they thought of this, but basically you can fold up this handle, push this in, collapse this in, come to this side, fold out this little peg, and then peg it into the back. It actually kind of clicks into place. And then for this one, you're going to slide this back, rotate that down, and now we've stored both of them as like a battery pack. I love that. I love that it does that. Just such a nod to the, to the toy, and also just the fact that it does it, worked in that gimmick when they didn't necessarily need to, but it's cool. And of course, he wouldn't be Soundwave without a opening chest for cassettes. And I was really surprised that they worked in an eject gimmick. So the button actually opens up the chest. Here's what it looks like inside. There's some little detail in there. You can take this tape version of Laserbeak. It's not transformable, but it does have the little tape wheels in there. Yet another attention to detail there. But this will go in here. And you can stow this away. So he has that look. You can actually see through the chest. You can see the tape in there. So if Laserbeak is off, not doing a mission, you can have him stored in there. We also get a flight stand. So you get this display stand. Now this can be used in multiple different ways. But first, I'll show you. We can use this adapter here. This will peg onto here. And now we can take Laserbeak and peg him in. If you wanted to display him on his own, I don't think I'd ever do this, just having Laserbeak on by himself, but they do give you an adapter if you want to display him like that. Oops. But if you take this off and you attach these gripper arms, and now this can really be used for any figure, honestly, just because it's universal. But this has rubberized pieces here, and then these will bend. So you can use this to kind of hold Soundwave here. Actually, let me take these out. And we'll fix up his shoulder cannon. And then you can kind of get him in a pose, and you can have him in the air if you want. It's not the... You do have to kind of pose it in a way that it'll balance, but you can get him up in the air. And another thing you get with the stand is this Decepticon logo, which has a magnet in it, which activates the light up feature. So let's get some lights turned off so you can see that more clearly. All right, so this is now the first time they've incorporated lights and sound into a figure. They haven't had sound before. So first click, it will turn on the lights. You get that nice red glow. Second, that is so cool. I love that the lights flicker with the voice. And then that's it. If you cycle through, you can basically turn it off. Really neat. All right, and for some size comparisons, there it is next to the Galaxy version of Soundwave. I believe this is the Shining Edition. And then we've got the Transformers 1 Soundwave, and then the Defender version, the smaller Soundwave done in Golden Lagoon. So you can kind of get a sense of the differences in the scale across all the lines. And the Rumble fits in nicely with the Galaxy version, so if you're trying to put him in that display, that'll work. And for another comparison, there it is next to the first two Action Edition figures, the Optimus Prime and Megatron. And what I love about this company is they don't just take the same figure and keep making it over and over. They keep innovating. So they've added things over time. With the Optimus, they didn't have articulated fingers. Now they have articulated fingers on the Megatron, and they added some more accessories. Then for the Soundwave, they added more articulation at the waist and the shoulders. There's some cool technology in the shoulder cannon there. And then they added sound chip to the lights. So they just keep innovating, coming up with new stuff. And that's what I love about this company. So final recommendations on the Blokees Transformers Action Edition Soundwave. This is a phenomenal set. I'm going to give this a 5 out of 5 strong recommendation. It really includes everything you would want and need with a Soundwave figure. I love the fact that they give you 4 tapes, 4 minions to include. This is such a cool, ingenious idea, getting Ratbat to be a jetpack for Rumble or Frenzy. That's just and fun idea. I haven't seen these drills for Rumble, so that's something kind of new. I love they added sound. They're still innovating, adding a sound chip in addition to the light up feature. That's just, above and beyond. And it sounds great. Ravage is probably the weakest, but even then, he's still pretty good. So overall, definitely recommend this. I hope they keep going with this Action Edition line. This is definitely my favorite out of all the Blokees products. But that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Blokees for sending us for review. We'll see you next time.